Hello, aviation enthusiasts! Welcome back to the Thrifty Pilot, your go-to channel for all things aviation, where we break down complex topics and share tips to make flying more accessible and enjoyable. It's a windy day in Virginia right now, and it brings up the complexities of a widely thought of non-complex phenomena, wind. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and sometimes challenging aspects of flying wind. Understanding how wind affects flight is crucial for any pilot, whether you're a seasoned aviator or just beginning your journey in general aviation. So buckle up as we explore the intricacies of wind and how it influences every phase of flight. Let's start with the basics. Wind is simply the movement of air relative to the Earth's surface. It's caused by differences in atmospheric pressure, which are influenced by factors such as temperature, terrain, and the Earth's rotation. For pilots, wind can either be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on how you manage it. Wind is typically measured by its speed and direction. You've probably heard of terms like headwind, tailwind, and crosswind. Here's a quick refresher. Headwind: airflow moving directly opposite to your aircraft's direction. It increases lift during takeoff but decreases ground speed in flight. Tailwind: airflow moving in the same direction as your aircraft. It increases ground speed but can extend your landing rollout. Crosswind: airflow coming from the side, often challenging during takeoff and landing due to the need for precise control. Wind isn't constant. It varies by altitude, time of day, and geographic location. Here are a few key patterns. Surface winds. These are influenced by friction from the Earth's surface and obstacles like buildings and trees. Surface winds are generally weaker but can be turbulent. Upper-level winds. At higher altitudes, winds are stronger and more consistent. These are critical for planning routes and estimating flight times, especially for long cross-country flights. Jet streams. These narrow bands of strong wind at high altitudes can significantly impact flight efficiency and fuel consumption. Riding a jet stream can save time and fuel, while flying against it can have the opposite effect. Sea breezes and land breezes. Near coastal areas, the differential heating of land and water creates predictable wind patterns. Sea breezes occur during the day as cooler air from over the water moves inland, while land breezes occur at night as cooler air from the land moves toward the water. Mountain waves. Wind flowing over mountains can create oscillations in the atmosphere, leading to turbulence and rotor clouds that can challenge even experienced pilots. Understanding wind patterns starts before you even get in the cockpit. Tools like meters and TAFs, aviation weather reports and forecasts, provide essential data on wind direction, speed and gusts. Pilots also use wind component charts to calculate headwind, tailwind, and crosswind components for specific runways. Knowing wind conditions allows you to calculate performance metrics such as takeoff and landing distances, fuel requirements, and potential turbulence zones. A headwind is generally preferable for takeoff as it provides additional lift. Pilots must align with the runway's direction relative to the wind to ensure safety and efficiency. Crosswind takeoffs require special techniques, such as applying rudder input to counteract drift and maintaining alignment with the runway centerline using aileron deflection. In cruise flight, winds aloft play a significant role in determining ground speed. A tailwind can help you reach your destination faster, while a headwind might require additional fuel. Crosswinds during cruise can cause drift, requiring constant correction to maintain your intended track. Pilots use wind correction angles to compensate for this drift. Turbulence is often associated with wind shear or changes in wind speed and direction. Understanding turbulence intensity, light, moderate, severe, or extreme, helps pilots prepare and respond effectively. Landings are often the most wind-sensitive phase of flight. Pilots prefer a headwind for better control and shorter landing rolls. Crosswind landings demand precise aileron and rudder coordination to keep the aircraft aligned with the runway. Techniques like crabbing or slipping are commonly employed to manage crosswinds. Gusty winds require additional vigilance. Pilots often increase their approach speed slightly to counteract potential wind variations. Turbulence. Wind interacting with terrain, buildings, or weather systems can create turbulence. This can be unsettling for pilots and passengers but is generally manageable with proper technique and preparation. Wind shear. Sudden changes in wind speed or direction can pose significant challenges, especially during takeoff and landing. It's essential to recognize and respond to wind shear conditions quickly by following escape maneuvers outlined in your aircraft's operating handbook. Crosswind limits. Every aircraft has specific crosswind limits which vary based on design and weight. Pilots must know these limits and practice their crosswind skills regularly. Microbursts. These intense, localized downdrafts can occur during thunderstorms and are particularly dangerous near airports. Early detection via weather radar and wind shear alerts is critical. Weather briefings. Always get a comprehensive weather briefing before flying. Use tools like ForeFlight or FAA-approved weather services. Wind correction techniques. Master skills like crab angles, forward slips, and side slips for dealing with crosswinds. Runway selection. Choose a runway aligned with the wind whenever possible to minimize challenges during takeoff and landing. Wind socks and indicators. Pay close attention to visual wind indicators at airports to verify wind conditions. Onboard instruments. Utilize onboard systems like GPS, airspeed indicators, and heading indicators to monitor and adjust for wind conditions during flight. Autopilot. Many modern aircraft come equipped with autopilot systems capable of compensating for wind drift and maintaining course stability. Wind gradient. A gradual change in wind speed and direction with altitude can affect aircraft performance during takeoff and landing. Pilots must anticipate these changes and adjust accordingly. Katabatic and anabatic winds. These are winds caused by temperature differences along slopes. Katabatic winds flow downhill, often cold and fast, while anabatic winds flow uphill, typically gentle and warm. Polar winds. Near the poles, low-pressure systems can create unique wind patterns that affect navigation and flight planning. Practice crosswind landings. Simulate crosswind conditions with an experienced instructor to build confidence. Monitor fuel usage. Account for headwinds and tailwinds in your fuel calculations to avoid surprises. Stay current. Regularly review wind-related procedures in your pilot's operating handbook. POH. Be prepared to divert. If wind conditions become unsafe, have alternate airports in mind. Understand local wind phenomena. Learn about wind patterns specific to the areas where you frequently fly. Wind is a dynamic and ever-present factor in aviation. While it can present challenges, mastering wind's complexities will make you a more confident and capable pilot. Remember, preparation is key. From pre-flight planning to touchdown, understanding and respecting wind can mean the difference between a routine flight and an emergency. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more aviation insights. Thank you for watching The Thrifty Pilot, where smart flying meets big savings. Until next time, fly safe and keep those wings level.